Hey you guys, welcome to probably a shorter one. Today we'll be covering Garou against Max Steel. Not the character, but the entire verse. We're putting Garou in his monster and cosmic forms against the entirety of Max Steel. Starting off chronologically, let's have Monster Garou against Dread. Now, of course, going over some of Monster Goal's feats, we grant him pretty impressive tier power. Uh, some notable ones are him one-shotting Sage Centipede, which is so big that he generates planetary mounted kinetic energy just by moving, and with one-shotting him, he'll be 10 times stronger, granting him over 14 times the energy needed to blow up the planet. And of course, he upscales people like evil natural water, which got killed by a moon level attack, and a Rochi, which Gyro Cannon can generate multi-continental to small planetary amounts of power. He can also shift the Earth and bend it technically with Margin Fist. With Fajin, it is change the form of the planet, which is at least a multi-continental feat. So yeah, moving on with speed, you can create a massive light construct with Platinum S and Flashy Flash that gets to a minimum 4 times the speed of light. So planetary and FTL amounts of power and speed is what we have for Garou. This is more than enough to beat in episode 2 and 3 Dread, because Max beat him with at best a multi-continental explosion, and that nearly killed him, one-shotted him out of his transformation, he was knocked out, stuff like that. So even a Rochi can one-shot this guy, yet he owned Monster Garou. And he went on to have more transformations after this in his monsterized form. So one hit will be more than enough to kill Dread, but if he somehow survived this, he'll come back 2 episodes later, even more powerful. At best, he just unquantifiably upscales this explosion. So, yeah, we don't know how powerful he is. There's talks on too, but he's probably weaker than Dread, or at best relative. So, he's one-shotting him too, as well as all of the Elementors. And really, the only challenge I see him getting in Season 1 is like Air Elementor, because he can't physically hit him. But given the fact that he's so much faster, he'll be able to strike his core, which you will be able to figure out that's the weakness. Season 1 characters are like barely the speed of light. I mean, we have characters like Base Max that can dodge negative tachyons, as well as him in his strength and fight mode, dodging it at relativistic to even been faster than light speeds. Flight mode is much slower than Monster Garou, and he's the one with the highest calc. Now, if you only cap Monster Garou at 4 times light speed, speed mode would be faster than Monster Garou, but no one scales to him in Season 1. Everyone's getting blitzed. So, more than likely, Garou is blitzing everyone and beating all the Elementors. Even Ultimate Elementor power clipping is not past Moon level. He's capable of one-shotting cannon mode just by creating in a pillar. By defending himself, he's one-shotting in cannon mode, not even attacking. In cannon mode, with 1/3 of his power, one-shotted Air Elementor. Air Elementor is relative and not stronger than Dread, which upscales this explosion. So maybe 300 times it, making him Moon level, possibly higher. But yeah, that's the best we can get. So yeah, Moon level, maybe FTL versus a planetary and FTL character. Yeah, everyone's dying. The evasion at the end of Season 1 ain't gonna do anything either. Now, of course, you could argue he can't destroy the Magneto Destroyer because he can't get past this sealed. But you could argue planetary mounted power, he could just destroy it, or just force himself through it. I mean, Ford's managed to survive it just by holding on to Max. This guy's hundreds of times greater than anyone in this season. So he'll probably just be able to force himself through the shield and just destroy it from the inside. Assuming Magno even goes onto Earth, considering how Dredd should be dead at this point. But whatever, let's just say very alive. So yeah, moving on to season 2. Metal Elementor, which is the new strongest character, would honestly just get whooped just as easily. One thing you can do is highball these characters to Toxon's feet, sucking up a bunch of radiation, which gets to planetary, and then say Dread, Elementor, maybe the T-Rex form of Destroyer, and Metal Elementor is way above this, so say he's planetary. So you can say Metal Elementor is relative to Monster Garou, but he has transformations after this that makes him even stronger, and he's faster. So even though with his scaling he wouldn't one-shot him, I will be pretty over time. Now that I think about it, he has something that flex power honestly even. Like when he fights Silver Fang, someone relative to him at the time, one single scrape of his skin was able to send shockwaves to his body, one-shotting him with martial arts. And one of his most famous martial arts is to be able to deflect your power back at you, double the force. So that I would say he'll be able to beat Metal Elementor as well as one-shot him if he hits his core. Mega Elementor is like one shot gap above this, but even still he would be stronger than Garou. But there is the Water Walk Smashing Fist, as well as all of his other crazy martial arts that would, in my opinion, help him get the edge. Now when Magano arrives, I do think Magano is stronger. Cannon Mode got one-shotted just by hitting into Magno, took no damage. It did way better than Metal Elementor ever did. He upscales any feat ever in the series so far, making him at least planetary, not far higher. And he even survived a solar system level wormhole collapsing on him, making him solar system level. Yeah, Monster Garou isn't gonna cut it for this. So here's where we get to Cosmic Garou. Some of his feats is creating a moon level gamma ray burst, as well as a moon to arguably planetary black hole. And that's kind of it. There's a serious punch sure, but that's kind of inconsistent. But the best thing you could say is he slightly downscales off of his serious knees, which it is stated that surpassed his level power. That feat got from Dwarf Star to Star level. So even if you want to say Star level is arguably weaker than Makino, but if you want to say Makino lost to a Yard Star level blast, or destroying the Alpha Ink, then you could say that they're relative. Oh, then we have to look at speed. For speed, Makino is able to tag uh, a speed mode, which is 6 times the speed of light. But if we're in a highball monster Garou, he's 200 times the speed of light. And even a cosmic Garou can arguably be hundreds of times the speed of light. Since by the end of the fight, he arguably scales to the beginning of fight Saitama, which has a hundreds of times speed of light feat. Which at best Makino would be at 32 times the speed of light by scaling above Nova mode that can fly to the sun in a short amount of time. So yeah, I would say that Cosmic Garou is faster than Makino, but Makino is stronger. And Makino doesn't really have the core weakness that Elementors do. So I would say that Makino probably does win. But you could argue with the martial arts, the speed gap, that Garou could pull out a trees here. But when Makino comes back at the end of season 2, absolutely no way. He gets a one-shot gap stronger at least. He's stronger than Rocket Mode. I one-shotted him with his lasers, well, blasters, the last time he fought. So I would argue that Garou would need a couple hits to one-shot him now. and Machina could just beat Garou in a single punch if he can hit Garou. So yeah. Now, of course, there's always stuff like the serious punch squared, which has so many inconsistencies I don't like using it, but screw it, let's just use it. First inconsistency. How did it blow up hundreds of stars if Garou looked back the direction it fired and said that there are stars there, including the sun? The guy with a knowledge of all cosmic forces in the universe said there's still stars there. Interesting. Also, they nuked a hole in space. How did a much later and stronger Saitama, or how did Garou thought that a stronger Saitama than what did this feat with Garou would die from being thrown into the sun? Yes, I know he didn't die, but Saitama is stronger than Garou at this point, and then Garou thought he would die by going into the sun. And number 3, Garou, if you actually read the manga, got surpassed by a sneeze that didn't even destroy all of Jupiter, yet 20 minutes earlier they nuked 5,000 stars. Interesting. So yeah, I don't like using this feat at all, but hey, if you want to highball Garou, this feat gets anywhere from solar system to even galaxy up with the highest end. They did not nuke several galaxies, so this should not be multi-galaxy, but hey, galaxy maybe. Even though that's a bit of a high end, because you can only see like 6,000 stars from Earth, but whatever. This would surpass everything Makino has, because at best, he upskills Nova Mode, which can at best survive inside an ultramassive black hole, because it wasn't stated how big the black hole was. So that'll get up to Solar Plus. There's a contradiction in how a Nova Mode got damaged just by going near the sun. But hey, if I'm going to be generous to Garou, I'm going to be generous to Max. But even still, with the scaling, I would say that Garou still one-shots, even without the martial arts. Mortem and Terax is in the same boat here, but it's relative to Makino. Mortem can suck out Garou's brainwaves, but it takes a couple seconds to do this. So Garou would just blitz him in one shot and just destroy Connect Tech. Unlike Makino, Mortem actually has a good weakness that would just kill him. So yeah, Garou would definitely exploit that. His regeneration ain't gonna do anything. And Terax is Terax. No special overpowered abilities besides weapons, I guess. Garou one shots. Now to go with the strongest villain in the series, Morphos. If I want to be ultra generous to Garou, I'll do the same with Morphos. Walking mode gets to 11 Terafo. Then Makino upscales this, and it gets over 10 times stronger by the end of season 2, getting him to at least 100 Terafo. But there's a higher end too. If one say middle season 2 Makino's relative to Mortem in his third form. Mortem, due to the Circubial, got at least 180 times stronger in his final form. But you can go even higher. His third form came after absorbing the brainwaves of all of Copper Canyon, which has about 1.4 million people. It's never stated, but given the fact that it's on the Pacific coast, it's in a canyon and has a river going through it, it's pretty similar to San Diego. They have so many similarities, so I'm just going to use their population. And this is a yo one because not even everyone is absorbed from Copper Canyon. Or to get him his form, about to say 1.4 million people gave him his spider form, and his final form came after absorbing 11 billion people from across the entire planet, which would be an 8,000 times multiplier, which you get Mortem, Terax, Makino, all into the Pedipho, or multi-sore system level. Morphos is part of the stronger threat for Makino and is more dangerous from the end of season 2 Makino, so he's stronger. Then Cannon Spike two-shotted him. Then Morphos came back and one-shotted Cannon Spike, making him another 50 times stronger, or into the XFO or multi-sore level plus. So if you use the Yo or mid-ends of the serious punch squared, Garou uses. If you use the high end, Garou one-shots. And with speed, Morpho should be several hundred times the speed of light from being able to blitz max at the start of season 3, or and then getting blitzed by Cannon Spike 4 times over, and then coming back and being at least relative to Cannon Spike, if not faster, since he's able to tag a Sonic Fight, which is his fastest mode. So at least well over 4 times the speed of Makino, bare minimum, if not much higher. So like 150 to maybe over 300 times the speed of light. Making him move well with the Cosmic Garou, this one used with several billion times speed of light ends. So yeah. And of course, they both have adaptation. Morphos has regeneration, shows the powers of everyone he absorbed, or he adapted to. You could say Garou could one-shot with the Water Extreme Walk Fist, but Morphos would probably just regenerate from that pretty easily. And yes, Garou managed to destroy his core, which should just mean Morphos is just sitting there like a little bit, not being able to do anything. So yeah, it really depends. My opinion, more realistically, Garou isn't getting past Makino, but if one uses the serious punch shared, then he has to use as high as possible ends in order to beat Morphos. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.